I want to go to Charlotte County, though, right now. So Tweelon Nugent is there. Charlotte County has actually put in a mandatory curfew. It's 9 o'clock tonight to 6 o'clock in the morning until further notice. So Tweelon, kind of paint the picture. How are things looking there in Charlotte tonight?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the weather has changed drastically in the time that we've been here out last. I want to, take a look right here at the trees. They're blowing even more than they were before. It's much darker than it was. I mean, that's normal because it is getting later in the day, but the clouds are just completely covering any sunlight we could be having, and we are starting to feel a few rain sprinkles out here. And I mean, it's hard to keep my head up. I don't want to lose the hat. I really like it, There were a couple birds sitting over here, and they were hanging on for dear life. A big gust of wind came through and just blew them right off the barrier here. But the weather is changing drastically, and it's getting worse. We know Irma is coming even closer, and that's why, in order to keep you safe and also kind of combat all of the things that have been happening out on the streets, we were told by the sheriff, curfew is enacted 9 a.m. until 6 a.m., and that is until further notice. That's because they've already had some calls out here of people kind of taking advantage of the vulnerable situation that the evacuations in the red and orange zones have caused. So they just want to make sure that everyone's property is safe while they are gone at this time. But as you can see here, we're looking at tons of crews making their ways in and out of this building because they are coming out as often as they can before this building gets shuttered up and no one is allowed to leave. So as soon as we get those storm force winds, we are going to shutter that front door, and there is going to be no entry or exit into this building. And you did see earlier they had some of the dogs out there. They have search and rescue dogs that they've brought here. Let's kind of take a walk down here just so we can see a little more of what's going on. But they brought some of the search and rescue dogs here already, so they're preparing for after this storm, because at this point we know we're going to get something. We know there's going to be damage. We know that it's not going to be great, and there are going to be people in trouble after this. So they are preparing for that at this time, bringing all the dogs in here, making sure they're comfortable. And this building is actually filled with twice as many people as it normally is. But again, we do want to touch on that curfew, because here in Charlotte County, it's enacted from 9 p.m. until 6 a.m. and that is all until further notice, again, because some people have been taking advantage of that vulnerable situation. The evacuations in the red and orange zones here along Punta Gorda have caused here. So that's our newest information. I do have some shelter information if you want to get out before this curfew and you haven't already. Atwater Elementary is almost empty, so it's open. Everyone can go there. It's 4701 Huntsville Avenue. They have plenty of room, but make sure if you're going to that shelter, you're bringing your own food, your own water, and your sleeping arrangements, because they can open the shelter for you, but they don't have a lot of accommodations otherwise. South Side in Sarasota is at capacity. Again, if you want to get to a shelter before curfew at 9 p.m., Atwater Elementary is almost empty and open for you. That address is 4701 Huntsville Avenue. And again, if you missed that, we've got all of those details on our website at fox4now.com. Reporting in Charlotte County, I'm Tweelon Nugent, Fox 4 in your corner.